Hey guys, welcome back to Tiana's Divine Truth, and I have another message for you about self-love. Yes, right, love yourself. That's right, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. That's right. So the message I have for you guys today about self-love is one, why is self-love important? Why it's important for you to refill yourself, to fill yourself with love and care and energy, and to just rest and be renewed. Because we live in an environment that tells you that if you're not tired, if you're not overworked, if you are not overwhelmed and struggling, then you are not working hard enough. Imagine that, right? Just imagine that. If you aren't on your knees crying to God to save you, if you are not on your knees crying for help and assistance, then you are not working hard enough. Maybe you just gotta work hard enough, Maybe you just gotta put in more effort when you're already putting in effort. You're putting so much, think about this, you're putting so much effort into just living and existing and surviving that you can't even fill yourself up to enjoy this life that's already around you. We can't even enjoy life because we're working so hard to get ahead. We can't enjoy life because we're working so hard to achieve all these things that they say that we need to achieve, all that good stuff. And I think the basic point of this is that we're not loving ourselves the right way. And not only that, what this is also doing is it's reinforcing a negative belief that you're not worthy of self-care, self-love, like just being restful, just feeding into your good things into yourself. And the beautiful thing is self-love looks different for everybody. So they project on the TV that self-love could be, going to a spa, huge expensive spa, sitting there and relaxing. And for some people, that is self-love. That is self-care. But sometimes self-love is just taking 5 minutes and sitting down and resting. Sometimes self-love is just like spending 15 minutes resting with your family, and because now you have the time to do that, because you're, instead of running around trying to get where you need to go, you're just resting to get filled back up with the love of that family, your family. You're like, self-love helps you remember why you started. Self-love helps you remember what's the point of doing all this. Self-love helps you remember why it's important for you to rest, why it is your needs matter, why it is that you need an extra 30 minutes to sleep, why it is you need to drink more water, why, because the more you start pouring into yourself, the better you feel, and the better you feel about life, the less oppressed you are. Self-love is necessary to heal anything that's going on in your life, to heal your body, to heal your mind, to heal your soul, because all that anxious energy running through your body, all that anxiety running through your body is not good for you. You got to get it out somehow. And the only way to get it out is to rest, is to stop, is to slow down. So I'm encouraging people in 2024 to figure out how to live a slower life. Not a faster life, but a slower life. Not a life, a slower life where you're doing and your being are in balance. Like, maybe that day you wake up and your body is aching, it's dying, you are dying. You are dying, okay? You have the option of staying home. This is for those people who actually can have the option of staying home. You have the option of staying home and taking a break and resting to renew your body. Your body's saying, hey, I can't go anymore. We've done this. If you don't listen to me, I'm gonna cause some trouble. But you're like, but I have to go. And what if you didn't have to? What if it was just your mind telling you have to go to work? What if you could literally, what if you had 6 sick days, it was the end of the year and you hadn't taken any, and you felt like you still couldn't go, you still had to go into work? Imagine that, right? So, and your body's like, you need to rest, but you're not listening, you're not paying attention. You're like, I have to go to work. And so you go to work and your body's like, you didn't listen? Well, I'm gonna show you. See what I mean? So if you don't listen to your body will let you know right away that it doesn't agree with what decision that you just made sometimes, if you don't listen to your mind, you'll end up burnt out and can't, and all that creative energy you had flowing is no longer flowing because your body's like, hey, I'm tapped out, I gotta refill myself for you to give you that back. So this is why self-love is important, to ground yourself, to make you happy, because when you're happy, that what's the point of doing all this stuff if you're not happy? What's the point of doing all this thing? Got distracted. We're all on earth living out different realities. We all have different lessons to learn while we're here on this planet. But Self-love is a universal concept because it's the only way to return back to yourself, to really understand yourself and ground yourself and know that everything that I'm doing is from a space of love, a space of me treasuring and honoring myself. You know, loving yourself is loving God because God made you, so love yourself because as if you'd love God. That's simple. Because the moment you stop loving yourself, you slowly start moving away from understanding just who you are as a person. Because you will no longer be looking after your own needs, you'll only be looking after the needs of other people. The reason self love is important is because people think self love is like, yeah, I'm the best, I'm great, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful. Like just those affirmations telling you. I'm like, no, self love is time, is pouring energy and time into yourself. Because think about it, if in 24 hours of 24 hours you've spent less than 30 minutes on your whole self, all this, everything that you woke up to be, you gave it to away to everybody else around you, and you didn't spend even 30 minutes on yourself, not even 30 minutes on yourself today. What's the point? Why should everyone benefit from all the stuff that you're putting into yourself, but you can't even imagine not being able to benefit from your own self? Why is everyone able to benefit from you, but you can't benefit from yourself? Imagine, just imagine that. Just if you really think about it, really think about it. Think about it. Why is everyone able to benefit from you, but you can't benefit from yourself? Why do you pour all the stuff that you've poured into you into everybody else? Why do you pour all the stuff that you've poured into you into everybody else, right? You put 8 hours of sleep into yourself to benefit you, right? No, because that 8 hours didn't go anywhere. It went to everybody else. You know, you didn't spend an hour doing something you liked. You didn't spend an hour. Within that hour, you can do whatever you want. Watch TV to refresh your mind. Reading to learn something new. Doing something you enjoy doing, like a hobby. Going for a bike ride. Going for a run. If you like doing your nails, go do your nails. That's important. I know guys think that nails aren't important and stuff like that, but it is. It's just part of, sorry guys, just gotta have to deal with it. You just gotta, you know, spas, nails, women. It's a good thing. You know, it's like, do your nails. Why? Because it makes you, sometimes that makes you feel pampered. But sometimes being pampered could just be sitting on a porch while the sun is setting, going to a park and watching the sunset. Even that is nurturing to yourself because it's time spent on you, time spent with yourself. But that's very important. So I encourage everyone to start figuring out ways that they can find to love themselves, find ways that they can pour into themselves. Like for mine is drinking hot chocolate before bed. I drink hot chocolate before bed. First I was like, maybe I shouldn't, but I realized, what emotion do I feel while I'm drinking this hot chocolate? I'm like, why am I feeling guilt for something that feels good? So long as I'm not doing anything excess, it's not bad. It nourishes my well-being, my emotional well-being, because I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I feel great at the end of the day after I do that. For example, I drink coffee in the morning. The other day I was like, maybe I should stop drinking coffee. And I thought to myself, why the fuck am I going to do this? I'm just like, I have ADHD, okay? And I have figured out a way how to get off of my ADHD medication and still be productive. So I thought, why would I stop drinking coffee when I'm not even drinking it in excess? I only drink 1 cup a day when necessary. And coffee for me is not only about staying awake and being productive. It's kind of like the hot chocolate at the end of the day. It's like that ritual to get your day started, to also get you into your flow state so that you can be productive for today. For the day and be able to do the things that you want to do. So it's part of the ritual and it's not harming anyone. It's more beneficial to me than it is a harm. So why am I denying myself this one thing in the day? And the reason I say self-love is different for everyone is because for someone, coffee in the morning might be more detrimental, and not actually having that cup of coffee might be them showing self-love, especially if you're a person of coffee who's on their 3rd cup. Maybe not drinking 3 cups a day would be self-love for you. See what I mean? Sometimes taking away is self-love and adding in is self-love. It's just balancing out what's happening in your life. You know, self-love is not a selfish action. It is a selfless one. Because you becoming the best of you can only benefit not only yourself, but everyone around you. You loving yourself also forces other people in your life to realize where they haven't been showing up for themselves, where they haven't been loving themselves, where they too can start integrating more moments in their days where they're showing love to themselves and encouraging themselves to slow down more, to rest more, to reflect more. Because sometimes some people's wounds that they accumulate in life, especially if you have wounds connected to being able to love yourself, being able to nurture yourself, being able to mother yourself. Sometimes those are so deep that they don't even know that they're there, right? And sometimes it can be triggered when they see you doing the self-care routines for yourself, and they're like, wow, maybe I haven't been nurturing and mothering and loving myself the way that I need to. Sometimes you give them permission to heal. Sometimes you give them permission to grow. Sometimes you give them permission to slow down. Sometimes you don't even know that that's even a concept. Sometimes a lot of people grow up and they don't know I'm able to do that. Sometimes you doing it is the permission that they needed, that they didn't know that they needed to do it. Sometimes they grew up in an environment that didn't enable them to do it, so it's not even ingrained in them. Sometimes, so they got to relearn so they have to learn now how to love themselves more. Just because, who knows, maybe seeing somebody else doing the same thing is what triggered your journey to slow down, to heal, to self-love yourself. So this is why it's important to nurture and love yourself, especially if you're coming from an environment where it was a very self-sacrificing family environment where people are always sacrificing for other people. That also is an environment that makes it harder for you to realize that you're giving too much of yourself, that you need to start nurturing and pouring back into yourself. It's time for you to slow down, to take a break, to really reflect on how you can start showing yourself a little bit more love and care and compassion. I think the word is compassion. Because I once had a conversation with, I used to be depressed. I'm no longer depressed anymore. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And I used to suffer with serious anxiety problems, but I'm no longer dealing with those issues at the moment. Like, I still have anxiety pop up from time to time, or, my little self-sabotaging ways pop up here and there. But I can say for sure that depression, out the door. It's out the door. And that was a blessing for sure. But that took many years to even get to that point where I can say that I'm not depressed, and I know for certain that I will never ever be depressed again. Like, I can fully say that I will never be depressed again, because I have learned from that phase of my life what it is that caused that depression, what it is that I wasn't nurturing in myself that led me to feel that way, and how I had to transform not only how I thought, but how I saw the world in order to transform those emotions into something that would be beneficial to me and to give me more perspective on why it is I reacted to situations in that manner. But that only happened after a therapist said this to me, and I was so confused by this one thing that she said to me. She's like, honey, I think I remember, she's like, honey. I was like, I think my thing was this and this and this and this and this happened and this happened and all of this happened, and I just don't know why it is I can't keep it together. Why can't I get everything together? And she looked at me like, she's like, honey, wow, that's a lot. You're not supposed to have it all together. Oh my God, honey, I think you need to exercise a little bit more compassion for yourself. Oh my God, that's a lot to happen. Why don't you have more compassion for yourself? And I thought to myself, compassion? What is that? And I thought, compassion for myself? I've never even heard of the concept. What does that even mean, to have compassion for yourself? And compassion for yourself is just giving yourself grace to understand that you are a human and things happen, and you don't have to have it all together all the time. You don't have to have everything going right. When everything's going wrong and you can't keep it together, that's okay. Sometimes That's okay. You're not supposed to have it all together. You're going to fall apart. It's normal to fall apart. It's normal not to be able to juggle 26 balls in the air while juggling on a ball. You know, with a little monkey and a pin waiting to pop those balloons that you're standing on, you know. Those who know that reference. But that's not like, you know, and not only that, doing that 24/7 for years, you know, like that's not, so eventually you're going to have a breakdown. Things are going to fall apart because it's going to fall apart because that's not sustainable. And what she meant by compassion was just having some self-love for yourself, to talk to yourself nicely instead of saying, why can't you keep it together? Why can't you get it together? Why do you keep doing everything wrong? Why is this falling apart? Why can't you do this? Why couldn't you finish this thing? It's okay. You're going to be okay. Yes, you didn't get that done today, but it's okay. We can get that done tomorrow. It's okay. Even if we don't get it done tomorrow, we will get it done next week. Even if you miss a deadline, it's going to be okay. Things are going to be okay. You are going to be okay. You're not a mess. You're not a mess. You are not to blame